Good evening, guys. Welcome to this week's recruitment drive. Uh, let's give a couple of minutes for people to join. Till then, let's do a small activity. My name is Franklin, and let's make this a slightly interactive session. All right. So let's not just keep it like I'm speaking and you guys are listening and all of that, right? And I love the creative that is there. Credits to the marketing team. But yeah, let's get started. Let's start off by introducing um who you guys are. Let's make it more interactive so that even I know, I can understand, I can address your issues. Just you can start mentioning your names, your what do you guys do, where you work, how many years of experience you all have, and things like that. Let's start mentioning that in the chat. And also, I would like to know how many of you all have already heard about the pathway. How many of you all know what the Miles US pathway is, but you guys still have doubts. If you guys have any specific doubts, start mentioning them in the chat, and let's take that up during the session. All right. So even I can know where you guys need help so that I can focus on that part. Hi, Victor. You have 15 years of experience in wealth management. That's amazing. So also, yeah, you guys can also start mentioning why you guys want to go to the US, why you guys want to work in the US. So basically, if to make it simpler for you guys, to help you guys understand, one might want to go to the US for two main reasons. All right. Number one is if you guys want to start earning more salaries, right? So if you guys are earning X amount, you guys want to double it, triple it, four times or five times it. So basically, with the Miles US pathway, if you're a CPA in India, you'll be earning an average salary of, let's say, about 10 lakhs. But if you go to the US, that will just become 5x. You'll start earning uh, somewhere around 50 lakh Indian rupees, right? So one of your reasons could be that you want to go to the US because you want to increase money or earn more money. Or second reason can be just for the experience of it, right? You guys have an American dream. You want to work in New York. Like you guys must have seen Suits and how the entire work culture is over there, right? So that can be one of the reasons, right? Yeah, I can see a lot more comments coming in. Hi, Hitesh. Good evening. How are you doing? Um, Rakesh has 12 years of experience in finance and accounting, and Manpreet has 5 years of experience in external audit. So I'll right now mention, I'll make it very clear to you guys that we have jobs for audit, accounting, and taxation. And you can go there. The courses like CPA and EA will boost your chances of getting a job in the US by, or it can take it up to 99.9% if given your communication and everything else is great. All right. So amazing that if you guys have experience in finance and accounting or in any of these fields, right? Pawan, working with a friend application as back office, I have 3 to 4 experience. Now I'm searching as a junior accountant. Amazing. Right place for you, Pawan. uh Yeah, and I also want to go back to the part where I want to understand if you guys have any, but if you already know about the pathway and have any particular doubts at any sections, right? So please also make sure to fill out the forms, right? I think Kanishta from our team has been already mentioning forms. So if you have any specific doubts, go ahead, fill out the form, and I will be also taking all questions during the end of the session. All right. So, okay. For the benefit of everyone who's already joined, let's get started. Um, Let me share my screen. So yeah. Oh, the first slide says this. The first slide says there's a huge shortage of accountants in the US and America wants you, right? So what does this mean, right? There's a let's try and understand the first line itself. There's a huge shortage of accountants, which means there are firms who are wanting to hire accountants in the US, but there aren't enough accounting graduates. They are not enough graduates coming out of college. They are not enough CPAs who are passing the CPA exam and getting the CPA license. right? So how did this happen? Why did this happen? Let's try and understand. All right. So let's take a sister industry, right? So we are accountants. What's our sister industry? Tech, right? So everyone knows the tech industry. If you guys can name some of the great tech people, like for example, Elon Musk, let's say someone from India, Sundar Pichai, and yeah, more people like that, right? So what happened in the tech industry, if you go a couple of decades back, there was something called as the dot-com bubble, right? So everyone on this call is aware of what the dot-com bubble and what happened at that time, right? So basically what happened was there was a scam that happened. And after that, the entire tech industry was almost destroyed, right? So and after that, what happened was they slowly started building up. The reputation of tech industry had gone down, and there was basically a shortage for techies in America, right? And what did techies do? They created a pathway for Indians to come and work in the US. That is number one. Number two, what they did was outsourcing, right? They outsourced to big companies that are right now set up, right? So they initially came to Bangalore. That's how Bangalore became the Silicon Valley in India and things like that, right? So uh, there is a similar kind of issue that the accounting industry is facing right now, right? And we did not have anything that went bad. I'll get to the point where what went wrong in accounting. But before that, let me just talk a little bit about who are some of the techies, right? Like, for example, some of the successful Indians in the world, right? Sundar Pichai, Bhavesh Agarwal, Anuj Jain. So all these people, what they did, they chose the first pathway where they went to the US, they completed their masters, and then they start working in companies in the US, right? So techies had something called as, they got something called as OPT, right? So accountants also get OPT. OPT stands for optional practical training, and techies also get the same OPT. Now, the only difference between accountants and techies initially was techies would get a 3-year OPT and accountants would get a 1-year OPT. Now, why this discrimination, if you ask? So it is only because the techies had something called as STEM involved in their pathway, right? So coming back to the entire shortage, and because techies had already a clear pathway to go to the US. Now when we are passing 11th and 12th, right, there's a big major question that comes up and you are put into a situation, right? Either choose commerce or science, right? So everyone would have gone through this entire thing when you are passing your 10th, right? So what people started, or what the entire thing was built around, was that if you are very good in studies, if you're getting 80 plus 90% plus, then you choose science. If you're getting below that, then you choose commerce. And what our seniors told us, what our parents told us was, if you choose science, you'll become an engineer, you'll have opportunities to go to the US, you'll have opportunities to go abroad and earn a lot of money, right? This is what we were told, this is what the story that was told to us, right? But right now, and listening to that, a lot of people started choosing the tech industry, and because of that, there started becoming a shortage for accountants. A lot of people were not choosing the commerce section. A lot of people were not choosing accounting, and that is one of the major reasons for the shortage, right? So if you look at it in just in terms of numbers, the number of new businesses that have started in the last 5 years has gone from 3.5 million to more than 5.5 million. While the number of new CPAs that have passed out, that is certified public accountants, which is equivalent to of a CA in India, that have passed out in the last 5 years has gone down. It's gone down from 23,000 to 17,000, right? Now, what this means is that for 50 companies that are out there, you will have only one accountant, right? Now, if you just try to understand or try to let this sink in. If one accountant is doing the books of 50 companies, how much would he have to work? Right? He'll have to stay overtime. He'll have to work on weekends, um, do crazy amount of work during peak seasons and things like that, right? And that is the entire reason why the entire whole thing is built around that accounting is boring. Accountants are boring. It is because we do a lot of work, right? But is that the case? We are just put into this situation, right? We did not choose this, right? And the only reason that we've chosen this is because there are not many people who can do it along with us, right? Techies have people sitting on their benches in case someone leaves, someone can come and fill in, right? There's something called as benching in the entire tech industry. But in accounting, we do not have people itself, right? And that is the reason there's so much going. Everyone knows what's going on LinkedIn, right? Everyone's very active on LinkedIn. You guys know what is going on at big companies, how much accountants are struggling, and everyone's aware of that, right? So that is the whole point. And if you look at it, look at what happens if audits are not filed. Let's say one day accountants decide to just mass strike and not do audits, not file compliances and things like that. What would happen, right? So something like this. Let's just take a case study. Tupperware has right now filed for bankruptcy. Everyone's aware of that, right? So before that, they used to delay filing their annual results because of the shortage of accountants, right? And the entire accountant shortage could be one of the reasons why Tupperware is going into bankruptcy right now. Maybe there weren't enough accountants to value their assets properly to keep them as collateral and get loans, right? Maybe that would have been the case. If they were enough accountants, they could have valued their debts and underwritten some of their debts, right? So all these things come into picture. And if there were enough accountants, maybe some Tupperware would have been saved, right? But because there are very less accountants, things like this happen. And it's not just in the case of Tupperware. Accountants are the people who keep the entire industry running, right? If you look at the entire stock market right now, it's everything's going in red. But accountants, if there were enough accountants, let's say they could just tell the entire public that this is just a panic run or something like that, right? Where we could right now is where the accountants are very important in the industry, right? They could find ways to bring them out of the recession that we are apparently going into, right? So, but that is not the case, right? Uh, there have been a lot of reports that are coming in. For example, Washington report saying that accountant shortage threatens capitalism's future. According to Deloitte, 82% recruiters expect to experience difficulties during the recruiting seasons and things like that, right? So you can just go on Google, type shortage of accountants in the US, and you'll get a lot of these articles come up. And what this presents to us is that opportunities, right? We have excess of opportunities or excess of, excuse me, we have excess of talent here in India. Yes or no, guys? Yes, right? We have excess of talent here in India, and accountants in the US are very less. Now, what this shows is that there is a gap in terms of demand and supply. And let's understand what this gap is in just in terms of numbers, right? Every year, there are about 126,000 openings for accountants, while there are only 72 graduates every year. And so there is a shortage of about 53,577 every year, right? So these are the number of job openings that are available for, let's say, Indians or foreigners or new accountants in the US to come and pick it up, right? Now, whoever picks up these opportunities are going to get highly rewarded, right? And we are going to talk about that in the coming slides. So please stick along. And if you guys have any doubts till now, please make sure you drop it in the chats. I will make sure that I will try and answer as many questions as possible. All right, cool. Okay, so let's set the context, right? So like we spoke earlier, the pathway was you complete your BCom in India, you pursue your master's in accounting, you'll only get a 1-year OPT compared to a 3-year OPT that engineers would get, right? Now, the entire math over here, your expenses would be about 45,000 for you to go and study there in the US, and you'll earn about $60,000. That is the starting salary that Miles partner firms are offering. Let's say you also crack a job of $60,000. You'll be, after cutting all your expenses in the US and paying off the student loan, you'll be in a net loss of about $16,000. And this is the reason our parents used to tell that techies, if you take science, you will have an opportunity to go work in the US, right? The reason is because instead of getting a 1-year OPT, that is in the traditional pathway, you would get a 3-year OPT. Now, this $60,000 multiplied by 3 and also add bonuses and your appraisals and things like that, right? Now, you can do the math. We've also done the math in the further slides, but I'll get to that. But you guys can understand the gist, right? Why our parents were trying to protect us from this entire pathway for going to the US when we were kids, right? So this is something that our parents didn't pitch to us because they knew that you would make a loss, right? Now, how did Miles crack the puzzle? How did we change the entire narrative for Indian accountants, right? So we use the same tech playbook. We saw whatever techies did. And the one thing that they did differently from us, like I mentioned earlier, is STEM, right? So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? So before we move forward, let's just look at one of the videos that the team has made to help you understand a little bit more about the opportunities there in the US, all right?
The global economy is in crisis. There's a huge accountant shortage, and America wants you.
There are 17% fewer accountants employed.
300,000 accountants and auditors leave the profession.
So let me get this straight. We're currently short on eggs, butter, and accountants.
Miles has cracked the puzzle for Indian accountants to work in the U.S. for 3 years. Become a flag bearer for Indian accounting talent as you live the great American dream.
Okay. So let's understand why the Miles US pathway. Again, we partnered with US universities and we recommended that they integrate business analytics into their masters in accounting programs, right? So why business analytics? Firstly, because it gives you a 3-year OPT instead of a 1-year OPT. And secondly, since all the industries are moving towards automations and things like that, we've introduced business analytics, which will help you in the automation, right? Business analytics will be something that will help you get better or help you automate all your mundane tasks and help you do your things more faster and easier, right? Now, because of that, Miles alumni who pursue the Masters in Accounting in the universities that we partnered with get the same 3 years work permit, just like engineers do, all right? And right now we have admissions open for the Group 1 universities that are there in the US. And these are some of the Group 1 universities that are there right now. And if you look at it, we started in fall of 2022 with just one university. Now we just closed our academic year of 23 and 24 and 25. And we had more than 600 students going to about 30 plus universities, right? And for the academic year of 25 and 26, we are expecting more than 1,000 students to go there. And most of the seats are already filled, right? So if you are someone who is looking to study in the US in fall of 2025, then this is the opportunity for you to get started. All right. Now, like I mentioned earlier, right, at the start of the call, I mentioned that if you pursue courses like EA and CPA, your chances of getting a job in the US increases to about 99%, given that your communication and other things which are basic that are all right, right? Now, you might ask, you have to do your master's in accounting there in the US. You will also have to do the CPA, write the CPA exam or your EA exam. Now, how won't there be would you have to study so much, and will there be like a lot of studying and things like that, right? Now what we've done is not something that we've done, how the industry is, how the CPA industry is. CPA is equivalent of CA in India, right? So to become a CA in India, what you have to do, you have to write around 20 exams in India, and you can start your CA right after your 12th in India. And after you finish your 20 exams, that's your CA inter, CA final, and 2 years of articleship, you become a CA in India, right? To become a CPA in the US, you would need about 120 credits to start writing the CPA exam. and 150 credits to get your CPA license, right? Now, I know many of you on this call might already know about this, but I'm just reiterating for people who are very new, all right? So what the people or AICPA in US they did was they started something called as Masters in Accounting, right? And the reason that they did that was with your university education in the US, you would get about 120 credits. That's after 4 years of your masters in undergrad in the US, right? Now, to cover up the gap of 120 to 150 credits is the reason why Masters in Accounting program was introduced, and the entire syllabus or the entire coursework of Masters in Accounting is aligned with your CPA exam, right? So when you're studying for your Masters in Accounting, you'll also be studying parallelly for your CPA exam as well, right? So in that way, you are not studying extra. The only thing that would be something that is different for you is your STEM, which would in turn help you in your career itself, right? And what we did to make the entire pathway more affordable is, number one, we partnered with universities and we told them that we would like to do a dual coursework program, which means you can do 30% of your entire coursework in India itself at B school called as Jackson, right? And this reduces your fee by 30%, number one. It also reduces your stay in the US, which means you'll be saving up on the extra 6 to 8 months that you'll be living in the US, the cost of living that you'll be saving. And second thing that we did was, since you saw in the previous slides, right, we are sending full batches of 30 to 60 students to each universities. So basis on that, we are able to get up to 40% scholarships just for Miles alumni, right? And the third thing that we did was we spoke to these universities and we already mentioned to them that our students will not be giving a GRE, GMAT, or IELTS and TOEFL, which means you'll be getting these waivers and you will be saving huge in terms of time as well as money. All right. And this is a breakdown of the entire cost. So you'll be spending about 48,000, and let's look at what will be covered under the loan and what will be out of pocket expense, right? So you'll be enrolling for the pathway with by paying 20,000, which is a visa assistance fee, and this will be refundable if your visa is rejected twice, right? This will be an out of pocket expense. And the second thing is, right after you get while you're working on getting your visa, you can also start your 9 credits in India itself, right? So this would cost about $6,900, and this will be covered under the loan, right? Step 3 is you get your I-20 from the US university. So this I-20 is very crucial because basis this I-20 is how you'll be able to apply. Excuse me. Basis this I-20 is how you'll be able to apply for your US F1 visa, right? So this entire process, step 3, would cost about $2,000. It will be an out-of-pocket expense. And we've made sure that we've also accounted for flight tickets in this step. All right. And step 4 will be the Miles Job Readiness Program. Over here, I would like to highlight another thing. Now, job interviews in the US are completely different from job interviews in India, right? If we talk about how they are different, in India, the entire job interviews happens on a technical basis, right? So people question about your skills in accounting, if you're updated about the laws and things like that. But in the US, people want to understand if you'll be able to work with the team over there, right? They want to see if you're more of a cultural fit. And we've also done a series called as What Recruiters Want, which is on our YouTube. You guys can go and watch that series, and it'll show you directly from recruiters in the US on what they are looking for in candidates in India. And the number one thing that they talk about is how they want Indian accountants to be able to communicate, number one, with their clients, number two, with their team, and number three, with their partners, right? Because another reason is because the entire accent is different, right? People in the US have an accent, people in India do not have an accent. And it becomes a little hard for us to even understand the accent. So that is the main thing that happens in this job readiness program. We train you basis what is required for each company, technically as well as in terms of communication, right? There will be mock interviews for you. There will be final clearance and things like that. And basis the entire interview, you'll be given feedback. In case of rejection, you'll be asked to work on your feedback and then come back again, right? So this would be an out-of-pocket expense and would cost you around $5,000, right? And step 5 is the CPA program. Again, I want to highlight how important the CPA program is. And the only reason it is important is because let's say you are a recruiter in India, right? Now, who do you prefer? Would you prefer someone with just an MBA or some masters or MCom, that is in India, masters in accounting or masters in commerce in India, or would you prefer someone who's a CA, right? So you would obviously go for someone who's done a CA in India, right? Because number one, they'll be able to sign on audits. Number two, they have knowledge about the entire accounting program, that is, let's say your audit, tax, your accounting, forensic accounting, and things like that, right? So that's the reason, if you're a recruiter, if you would choose someone who's a CPA, we also highly recommend that you do the CPA program to be able to easily get jobs in the US, right? So this entire program will cost around $2,300, and the CPA program will be covered under the loan. And step 6.1 and 6.2 will also be covered under the loan. And in 6.1, the reason we've kept it as a range is because this is the fees to the US universities, and based on the location of the universities, the fees might differ, right? So it is in the range of $21,000 to $39,000. And step 6.2 is stay in the US. Over here, again, we've kept it very nominal. Is the only reason is because since you'll be going there with more than 1,000 alumni, right? We just figured that you would be you would rather stay with another Miles alumni and share accommodation with at least one person. In that way, you might not even get homesick. You can share your household chores and things like that. Okay, now let's look at an indicative timeline. Let's say you start today. In November, you should be able to get your university offer letter. That is, I think, 15 to 20 days from the time you register. We should be able to check your eligibility, give you an entire game plan. And by November, you should get your university offer letter. And by Feb, you should get your US F1 visa, right? And as soon as you get your US university offer letter, you can start working on your 9 credits that is in India itself, right? So once you start this will be an online coursework. You can start and complete it by the time you move to the US. And in August, you can move to the US, and by May, you'll be completing your master's in accounting as well as your CPA program. And in May 2026, you can start working in the US on your student F1 visa, excuse me, right? So let's look at the entire ROI, right? So your investment would be your 1-year study in the US and 2 lakhs out of pocket expense and a loan of 38 lakhs. And your ROI will be 3 years of OPT, the 3 years of work in the US on your student F1 visa. And the salaries that you'll be getting is more than 50 lakhs a year. And over 3 years, that will be over 1.5 crores, right? Now, the same thing which you will use to repay the student loan. And if you look at the math, you'll be saving more than $20,000 a year, right? Now, if you'll be saving $20,000 a year, over 3 years, you'll be saving more than 50 lakhs, right? Now, we saw compared to the initial tech pathway to what is it now, right? So over here, over there, you were in a loss of about $16,000, and now you'll be saving more than 50 lakhs in 3 years, right? So that is the reason we have candidates going to the over 20 or 30 plus universities every year or every intake, right? And these are some of our alumni. And one thing that I want you guys to focus over here is the years of experience, right? So we have candidates who have 10 years of experience, 7 years of experience, people who have got placed even with 1 year of experience, right? And for everyone, the starting salary is $60,000. And based on the location of the company and other things, it might go even higher, but the starting salary is $60,000, right? I don't think we've had a candidate who has got placed with lesser than that. And again, we have people with almost 9 years of experience, 11 years of experience, and even 2 years of experience, right? So I have another video that I want to show you. This is the class of 2024 and their graduation video.
So today I'm graduating.
Class of 2024.
That moment was truly brilliant.
Super excitement. I mean, it's like dream come true. I am living the true American dream.
What are you most excited about?
Dollar.
To have a job in hand while I graduate, it's just magical, man.
Working as an audit associate in New York, it has been life-changing for me.
Within 2 months, I was able to get a job, which is not something that I hear of.
Coming here itself is the biggest thing, and then getting job is like I made it.
And just believe in yourself and the Miles team.
Now that I'm living this dream, I'm super excited, and thanks to Miles.
So these are some of our alumni. And guys, while this video is playing, I was just going through the chats. I can see that you guys have a lot of questions. We are almost at the last section of the webinar. So please make sure that you keep dropping in your questions in the chat, and I will take them up in just about right after finishing this section, right? So and also, if you guys have more doubts, please make sure that you fill out the forms that our team is populating in the chat, and the team will reach out to you basis your queries. All right. And the last part of this entire thing is placements in the US, right? And that is the main reason why I think most of you all are on this call, right? Who are the people that will hire you in the US? So what Miles has done is we are working with over 350 plus CPA firms as well as CPA state societies across the US. Now you might ask, how is Miles helping in any way over here? The reason is because there is a demand and we are the answer. Why can't I just apply to a company website? Why can't I just, even after just go to the US, choose a university which offers STEM pathway? Why can't I study and get placed by myself? Why do I have to go through Miles? And the answer is because firms in the US are not aware about the entire STEM pathway. They are not aware about the Miles US pathway, right? So they are very inbuilt and they are very into the original thing, that is outsourcing, right? Now, I think most of you all might know or might have worked at Big Fours or are working at Big Fours in India right now, right? And you might have colleagues, you might have friends who are working on US accounting, right? So what firms do in the US, or at least the Big Four, are they are accustomed to outsourcing the excess work to countries like India and China and other countries, right? So what Miles is doing, we have an entire corporate relations team who is reaching out to these firms, and they are educating them about the entire STEM pathway. They are showing them that you can hire accountants in your US offices and you can save up on cost of outsourcing. Now, if you just look at the disadvantages of outsourcing, is that the odd timings, the language barrier, the understanding barrier that are there, and things like that, right? So that is the entire reason the entire Miles team is going across the US, and we are educating the firms about the entire pathway. And firms are very happy to, they are responding really well, right? So, right, as you guys can see, we had three placement drives, and we keep having placement drives very frequently. And we have firms from RSM, BDO Alliance, Crow. RSM is there's the big four. RSM is the fifth big company that is there, right? So there's BDO Alliance. BDO Alliance has over 150 firms in their alliance. And there's Alinil Global, who also have amazing firms in their arsenal and things like that, right? Now, I want to show you guys another video, and this video will just talk about how firms are responding to the entire Miles US pathway, right? It'll give you an understanding of what firms are looking for, number one, and how Miles has helped them.
The global economy is in crisis.
After 2020, we saw people backing out of accounting.
What I never saw coming is the massive staffing shortage.
It's a crisis.
300,000 accountants and auditors leave the profession.
The talent shortage is by far the most pressing thing that as a profession we're dealing with.
There's more CPAs that are retiring than that are coming in.
We live and breathe it every day. It's hard to find experienced talent.
Miles Education approached us and said, hey, we have a solution for you, and really help U.S. employers get the help that we need.
Miles Education have really finding a solution.
This is an answer. This is doing something out of the ordinary.
Miles has cracked the puzzle for Indian accountants to work in the U.S. for 3 years. Become a flag bearer for Indian accounting talent as you live the great American dream.
Right. So we have an entire team. We have Chandu, who's head of corporate relations. We have Rohan. We have many people who are in the US who are reaching out to firms and educating them about that. Right. Now, what I would recommend you guys to also do is go ahead and follow these people. Right. I think Kanishta will again mention the links. Go ahead and follow Varun Jain, follow Chandu, and follow the entire team that is there in the US. And I'll tell you how this will help you, right? So like I mentioned earlier, US interviews are more conversational based, right? And let's say Lindsay, right? Lindsay from RSM, if she asks you, why do you choose RSM? How did you get to know about RSM? This is a very conversational, open-ended question, right? So if your answer just relates back to, I just saw Chandu's post where he was at a conference at RSM's New York office. And that's how I got to know about RSM. And the words that Chandu had written about RSM just intrigued me to apply over there and start working there. The culture, I got to learn about the culture, the work ethics, and the clientele of RSM. And that's what inspired me to apply for RSM, right? So this breaks the ice between you and the recruiter, right? And this is the reason, please go ahead and follow them. Stay updated on what is happening at your corporate relations team. Make sure that you are understanding who are the firms that we are reaching out to. How did we acquire them? I'm sorry, not acquire. That would be a very wrong word. How did we get in touch with them? How did we partner with them and things like that? It will be very important for you to understand those things. Right. And coming to the last part of this webinar, we also thought about what will you do after 3 years, right? So the entire pathway is you go to the US, work there for 3 years, and what after 3 years? Plan A is you can come back to India. You can work with the same firms that you were working with in the US remotely. And after 3 years, they'd be very happy to do that because you have an understanding of the entire clientele. You have an understanding of the entire team. You must have worked with partners there in the US, and you might know how things work, right? So, and that is the reason firms might be very happy to just have you guys work remotely, right? And if that is not an option for you, if that's something that you do not want to do, you guys know that Miles is established in India, right? So 80% of CPAs in India are Miles alumni. And we have partnered with Big Four and more than 200 MNCs in India. So we will help you get placed after you come back from the US, right? So 100% placement assistance will be there from Miles in case you choose to either continue working with the firms or if you're looking for alternative opportunities, right? So we'll be there with you in plan A. In plan B is if your firm decides to offer or sponsor your H-1B, right? So what will happen then? So in that case, this will be completely up to the discretion of your employer, and Miles will not have any role to play in it. And again, even if your employer decides to nominate you for the H-1B, the entire H-1B is subject to an 85,000 cap, and it will be under a lottery system, which means it will be randomly picked, right? And another thing that you have to keep in mind is the entire H-1B lottery system has been divided into two pools. One is a general pool of 65,000, and the second one is for people with advanced degrees of 20,000. Right now, since you have done your master's in accounting, you will qualify for both the pools, and you will get about 6 chances that when you are in the US. So your firm will have 6 chances to nominate you for the H-1B when you're with them in the US. All right. But over here, again, I want to make it very clear to you guys that Miles has no role to play in the H-1B sponsorship process. It will completely depend if your employer wants to nominate you for H-1B. And that is the entire reason we are saying plan A is come back to India and we will help you with placement assistance, right? So that's about it for the webinar. How do you guys get started? You can scan the QR code over here, or we will share a link for you guys to get started. All right. Now let's go to the questions. Let me do one thing. Let me also paste this link on the chat. I'll stop sharing first. I'll paste this link on the chat as well so that it will be easier for you guys if you want to. Can someone share the link for people that we have to follow? I think Kanishta might have shared the links on the group. I'm not sure. Oh, let me do it. Let me share the link to you guys. Okay, Kanishta has just shared it. Awesome. Okay, so if you guys have questions, you can start adding that in the Q&A section. Philip has asked, send me the schedule of payments on the video now. I can't read the figures. All right. So what we'll also do is right after this session, we will be sending all the attendees a message with the entire Miles US Pathway deck. And if not, please make sure that you fill out the form that is there, and we will, our team will get in touch with you. All right. When should we pay the $5,000 for placement assistance? So as soon as you get your US F1 visa, we can start working on your placement in the US, right? So it doesn't matter if you've already landed in the US or things like that. Our team will start working with you, or you can start, you can pay the placement assistance fee right after you get your US F1 visa. And if you're eligible, if our team feels that you are ready to take interviews, you can even start taking interviews with firms even before you go to the US. Hi, sir. What will be the process for 2025 August sessions, like application time, offer letter time, visa applications time? Okay, so over here, you can just fill out the request callback form that I'll share. You can get started now itself. So the reason I'm asking you to get started now is because the number of universities that are there are a lot, of course, but the seats are very limited, right? So we have people who have applied for spring of 2025, and spring of 2025 admissions are closed. So if someone defers from there, they will automatically get registered for fall of 2025, and you will be competing with a lot of people. So it's better for you to get started right now. And Nikhil has asked, does the $5,000 get covered in the loan? $5,000 will be an out-of-pocket expense for the placement assistance, and it will not be covered under the loan. Charan, I think I answered your question, right? Of when you should pay. Philip I'm in Zimbabwe. My number is not accepted on the form. Is there an alternative way to fill the form? Philip, why don't you do one thing? You can just send me a message of your name and phone number and email ID. I will pass it on to the team. Right. So just go to the chat, change the message to just Franklin Rosario, and I will update the team about your name, email, and contact number. All right. So I've deposited 5,000 INR as my booking money already. Can I participate to choose the university, sir? I mean, you will have to pay a amount of 20,000 rupees as a visa assistance fee. Post that is when you can start working with universities. So please fill the form out. Our team will reach out to you with an entire process that is there for you. All right. Let me go back to some of the questions that, okay, let me just drop the form in again for people. You guys shouldn't have to go back, right? I'm from Tokyo. I also have the same number problem. Yeah. Anyone who has phone number issues, you can send the message to me and I will make sure that your number gets passed on to the team. Charan has mentioned that he's made the payment today afternoon. When can I expect the next process to get started? So you should be receiving a call from our team as soon as possible. Like I'm by tomorrow mostly. I'm not sure, but you should get a call within the next 24 to 48 hours. Please be aware that there are a lot of people who are registering for the pathway. So it will be on a first come, first serve basis. And within the next 24 to 48 hours, I think the team should be able to call you and reach out to you. All right. Sir, I'm an international student. I live other country and nationality of another country, not in India. So can you process visa for me? So you're, I mean, where you primarily from? Where's your primary passport from? If it's in India, we can definitely help you. If not, we'll have to go and see the process, which is there because it will be slightly different. Do you have a pathway for CFA? That's a very good question. So right now there is a shortage of accountants in the US, right? So the shortage is there for accountants, right? We do have partnerships with universities for a master's in finance program, but over there we cannot help with placement assistance because there are no jobs in finance. Finance in the US, everyone's aware of how big it is, right? So everyone wants to work in Wall Street in the US, right? So we can help you with the master's in finance course, but there is no shortage of finance professionals in the US, right? So, but we do have a CFA program. You can go to our website and register for that. We will help you with placements in India itself for a CFA, but there is no US pathway for CFAs yet because there is no shortage of finance professionals. To apply for US universities and to get offer letter from US universities, CPA first exam pass mandatory. Sir, no, your CPA exam will help you get a job in the US, but it is not mandatory to pass the first exam of CPA to get offer letter from US university. That is not a mandatory thing that is there. But if you've already passed, that's well and good. It will help you chill out in the US when a little bit if you've already passed your CPA exam. So if you've already done that, that's a good thing to have. Right. So guys, if you have doubts, you can email me. I think Kanishta has added my email ID on the chat. Hi, sir. I'm studying business administration accounting advanced diploma in Canada, and now I want to pursue CPA. That's amazing. You can go to our website, www.mileseducation.com/CPA, and get in touch with our team. You want to pursue the US CPA, right? Because there's also there's CPA Canada, right? So please be clear on that. And please make sure where you want to. Yeah, then we have an entire program that can help you. Someone from the local office is already interacting with me. Do I still fill out these forms? I mean, if someone's already helping you out, please make sure you reach out to them and ask all your doubts. I'm very sure that they will be able to help you out with that. All right. So then if you are already in touch, you can reach out to them and ask your questions. But if you're not in touch with anyone, then you can fill out the form. So, sir, as I'm from engineering background, so US University will allow me to accept in accounting, business analytics master's program. That shouldn't be an issue. If you've done something in engineering, it shouldn't be an issue, but there will be very specific universities that will be taking you in. So make sure you fill out the form, reach out to the team and get in touch, and they should be able to help you, right? With that, I think let's close today's webinar. I would request the tech team to just keep the webinar running for another 5 more minutes so that people who still have doubts can fill out the forms that are there. All right. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. Have a great evening.